Women aren't complicated. Only weak men think they are. You don't need to read hundreds of psychology books. You don't need to guess what she's thinking. All you need is to be a grounded man. In this video, I'll show you how a Stoic man handles a woman's emotions without getting pulled into them. You'll understand why her mood shifts, why she tests you, why most men fail in relationships, and most importantly, how to become the man she never wants to leave. Watch until the end and you'll never have to ask, "What do women really want?" again. You'll know. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. Jake sat silently staring at his cold cup of coffee, eyes glued to his phone. Lisa hadn't texted all day. Normally she was excited to tell him about her work, about the little things in her day. But today, silence. He replayed everything in his head, wondering if he did something wrong. Their last date went well. He even sent her a good morning text like always. But this time, no response. Frustrated, he decided to call. Lisa picked up, but her voice felt distant. Not cold, but not warm either. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, keeping his voice steady. "Yeah, I'm just not in the mood to talk." Her answer irritated him. Not in the mood? Why? What does that even mean? He wanted to push for answers, to figure out what was wrong, but then he stopped himself. This wasn't the first time Lisa had been like this. Some days she was full of energy, talking non-stop. Other days she just wanted space, for no apparent reason. Before, every time this happened, Jake would worry. He would try to cheer her up, convinced that something was wrong and he had to fix it. But this time, he did nothing. If she wanted to talk, she would. If not, he would let it be. Because he finally understood, a woman's emotions don't always have a logical reason, and a man doesn't always need to understand. The night passed. The next morning, Lisa texted him as if nothing had happened. Jake just smiled. He was right not to force logic onto something that wasn't meant to be logical. A week later, Lisa had another quiet day. Jake noticed it the moment they met. She wasn't smiling as much. Her eyes were distant, as if her mind was somewhere else. Before, he would have bombarded her with questions. "Is something wrong? Did I do something? What's bothering you?" But this time, he said nothing. He took her out to dinner as planned, told her funny stories about work, and didn't try to force her to be happy. Lisa didn't react immediately. She stayed quiet for most of dinner. But as they walked out of the restaurant, she suddenly reached for his hand and squeezed it gently. "Thank you for not forcing me to talk." Jake just smiled, saying nothing. Before, her silence would have made him anxious. He would have felt the urge to fix the situation. But now, he understood. Her emotions weren't his problem to solve. He didn't need to understand everything. He just needed to stay in control of himself. A man who loses control over someone else's emotions is a weak man. Women will feel sad, frustrated, or angry. That's normal. But Jake's reaction is what determines whether he's someone she can rely on. So he chose the simplest path, to remain himself, no matter how Lisa felt. And that's exactly what made her feel safer around him. If this video made you think, hit like now. Comment below. How have you applied Stoicism in your life? Stoic success, unbreakable mindset, total control. Jake used to believe that love was the most important thing in a relationship. But the longer he was with Lisa, the more he realized a deeper truth. Love can come and go, but without respect, nothing lasts. One day, while they were walking through the park, Lisa suddenly brought up marriage. She told him about a friend who had just broken off her engagement because her fiancé wouldn't allow her to keep working after they got married. "What do you think about that?" Lisa asked. Jake shrugged. "I think if a man feels the need to control his wife's life like that, he's weak." Lisa was quiet for a moment, then continued. "Do you think a woman should sacrifice her career for her family?" Jake took a few seconds before responding. "I think that's her choice. No one has the right to force it on her. But personally, I will always respect the decisions of the woman I'm with. If she wants to pursue her career, I support it. If she chooses to stay home and focus on family, I respect that too." Lisa nodded, but something still seemed to be on her mind. Later that evening, As they sat together at their favorite cafe, she suddenly asked, "Do you ever think I'm too independent?" Jake looked her straight in the eyes. "Lisa, I don't love you because you're independent or not. I love you because you're you. But more importantly, I respect you. And if one day love fades, respect will still remain." Lisa didn't say anything, she just smiled. But Jake knew that in that moment, he had given her the most important thing a man can offer a woman. Not sweet promises of love, but unwavering respect. Jake used to be the kind of man who constantly needed reassurance from Lisa. If she didn't reply to his texts right away, he'd get anxious. If she seemed uninterested during a date, he'd scramble to make her happy, fearing that she was losing feelings for him. He thought this was normal. After all, when you love someone, shouldn't you pay attention to every little thing? But in reality, it wasn't about love. It was about his own insecurity. One day, Jake invited Lisa to see a new movie, but she declined. "I'm feeling a little tired today. I just want to stay home and rest." Immediately, Jake's mind started racing. Is she really tired, or does she just not want to go with me? Is she losing interest? Instead of accepting her answer, he texted back, "How about tomorrow? Or would you rather do something else?" Lisa simply replied, "Let's decide tomorrow." Before, Jake would have kept pushing, trying to make sure Lisa still cared. But this time, he chose a different path. He put his phone down and called up some friends to go out instead. He realized that he didn't need Lisa's approval or attention to have a good night. The next morning, when he woke up, Lisa had already texted, "I went to bed early last night. Let's do something today." Jake smiled, not because she messaged first, but because he had learned a critical lesson. A man should never seek validation from a woman. If he is valuable, if he has a life of his own, she will naturally come to him. Women don't want a man who chases after their approval. They want a man who is grounded, independent, and emotionally unshaken by their attention. Jake no longer needed Lisa to be excited about all his plans. He no longer needed her immediate replies to feel secure. And that change made Lisa more drawn to him than ever before. Jake started noticing something strange. Sometimes, Lisa seemed to test him on purpose. She would push his patience, throw in a sarcastic remark, or act upset for no clear reason. Before, Jake would get frustrated. He thought Lisa was being difficult, or worse, that she was losing respect for him. But now, he understood that this wasn't the real issue. One weekend night, while they were out for dinner, Jake excitedly shared his plans for a new project. He talked about his ideas, the next steps, and how he was going to make it happen. Lisa listened, smirking slightly. "You always talk about big plans, but how many do you actually follow through on?" Before, a comment like that would have made Jake defensive. He would have immediately listed his past accomplishments, trying to prove her wrong. But this time, he simply shrugged and smiled. "Just wait and see." Lisa went silent for a moment. She wasn't expecting that reaction. Maybe she thought he would get irritated or feel the need to justify himself. But instead, Jake stayed calm, completely unaffected. The truth is, Lisa wasn't trying to put him down. Women don't test men because they want to hurt them. They test them to see if they can handle pressure. A man who crumbles under her words isn't a man she can trust to lead. A week later, Jake showed Lisa his detailed project plan. She looked at it, then at him. She didn't say much, but in her eyes, he saw quiet admiration. Jake didn't need to argue or prove himself with words. His actions spoke for him. And that's how he demonstrated strength, not by reacting, but by staying grounded. Jake was no longer the man trying to decode every emotion Lisa had or control her moods. He realized that women aren't puzzles to solve, but emotional currents to stay steady in. He stopped seeking validation, stopped reacting to small tests, and most importantly, he understood that respect, not love, is the foundation of a lasting relationship. Women don't want a man who clings to them. They don't want a man who crumbles under emotional pressure. They want a man who can stand firm through every emotional storm, a man who doesn't get pulled into the emotional games they sometimes create. And when Jake stopped trying to fix Lisa and focused on his own path, something unexpected happened. Lisa respected him more, was more attracted to him. She didn't need a man who catered to her every mood. She needed a man she could trust. And finally, Jake had become that man. Thank you for watching. Support this amazing community by subscribing and turning on notifications now. Hit like and share your experience in the comments to spread positive energy today. Together, we can inspire and uplift each other on this journey.